Alright, Field Manual 1067-1, Chapter 27, the Hose Line Outfit. Description: the hose line outfit, the skull of the solo hose line with a temporary system will carry bulk patrol with if the design is over. They quickly move with the new side with the easily install with the transport fuel for the array with a 350 gallon per minute across the rolling comfy hose line outfit consists 13,000 feet about 2.5 miles 4-inch collapsible hose with the back with the flacking box with 350 gallon pumping assembly, low flow control for the roadway crossing guard with the hose line suspension kit with the hose line assembly, hose line packing kit with the repair kit. Detailed information on the layout operation hose line outfit is covered in section 2 of this chapter. Hose and flacking boxes, 4-inch lightweight collapsible rubber hose within plaque within 13 flexing box with a 1,000 foot over the box into a box. Each of 1,000 foot section with the two 500 foot lengths for the joint together with aluminum groove coupling with a swivel of the joint with the groove ends with attached with the one end of the assembly joint left with the hose assembly rotate with a continuously with the swivel connection. The hose is back with a yellow lay line. Figure 27-1 show how the hose line is backed in flacking by with 3 to 5 full flacking boxes usually on a truck. However, this depends on the type of the track available. The terrain with the truck with the muskrat with the lay of the hose line. Each box with the nest with is one with the below, and each of the retainer pin to keep it from shifting. There are two type of the hose retainer. The one of the removable plywood closure shown in Figure 27-1, which is placed over the two ends of the box. The other is a fabric retainer, which is placed over the plywood closure with the hose and playing let out from the box. Alright, show the plywood closure groove coupling attachment end section boxing shown with the hose. Hose the hold in place. The swivel joint with the groove type of the coupling groove with coupling 200 500 foot couplings 144 inches 72 inches by 12 inches. The groove type of the coupling swivel joint 350 gallon pump resistor regulator, 350 gallon per minute pump. It comes with a hose line outfit equipped with the pressure regulator, the regulator control of the auto of the pump, adjust the pressure for the increase the degree within the pressure for the hose line. Flow control valve kit. The flow control kit flow control kit consists of the two 4-inch gate valve with a 2-inch teeth with the two check valve with a 2-inch 4-inch hose assembly, each 5 feet long, 1 center trainer assembly, 1 roller electrician tape with a coupling with the nipple adapter the coupling halves. These items are stored in a metal chip in which is not in use. The coolant kit is used with the control of the flow of the fuel and the hose line. When this is done with installing the various components of the hose line at the desired location. Roadway crossing guard. The following roadway crossing guard shown in Figure 27-2 must be installed to protect the hose line when it crosses the roadway. Figure 27-3 show the roadbed with the crossing guard installed. 27-2 show the roadway crossing guard. Show the 27-3 roadway crossing guard installed with the roadbed. Hose line suspension kit. Hose line suspension kit with the 350-foot wire rope with the 350-foot Manila rope, 25 wire rope clips, and 60 shackles, 60 hose sails, 14 steel pickets, 4 steel blocks, 4 turnbuckles, 4 wire rope thimbles. These items are stored in the metal chips when it's not in use. The kit is used to suspend segments of the hose line system over the stream with an uneven area that is shown in Figure 27-4. Show the suspension kit with the hose line system. Hose line displacement evacuation kit. Hose line displacement evacuation kit shown in Figure 27-5 consists of the ball injector ball, receiver, the displacement ball, and the educator. 8 groove coupling, 16 pipe caps, also a middle storage clutch half of the kit. It also removes the liquid fuel for the vapor to air from the hose line kit system. It also flattens the hose so that it can easily pack into the flacking boxes. This displacement and ball injector displacement ball with the groove coupling displacement ball, receiver the air induction and pipe cap. Sling assembly. Sling assembly shown in Figure 27-6. G for the lift of the handle flacking bar with a 4-leg with lifting sling equipped with a spread bar with the assembly can lift up to 3 full flacking boxes at a time, but it will damage if it lifts more than 3. So for the spread bar with the flacking boxes and then sling assembly. Hose line packing kit. The hose line packing kit is for the jam of the hose puller, 2 closed clamps, the metal storage chest. Kit you for the packing section hose line system and the flacking box is shown in Figure 27-7. If generally you the temperatures below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, below 44 degrees Fahrenheit, the hose becomes less flexible and hard to pack. Figure 27-7, the hose line packing kit being used. Repair kit. The repair kit contains tools, material that are needed for the repair of the hose line, and they are stored in the metal shaft that not used for the table 27-1 list of components of repair kit. Hose coupled groove with hose cut tap with the banding buckle, the 12 with the 1 point pin can, hammer to rubber, tape, socket wrench, and handle the knife, tape, and screwdriver, rubber to heat the 8-ounce can groove, the coupling, banding tool, banding strap, and rags. Alright, youth. The hose line outfit, you with the transport with bulk petroleum in the very variety of ways. Outfit that temporarily with a connect with a rigid pipeline bulk delivery with a petroleum fuel system supply with a railroad transportation into the hose line outfit that can be connected with a rail tanker cover that transport bulk fuel with a class 3 supply point with the storage terminal. Outfit can also be used with detached airhead complex with the bulk supply that are delivered to the aircraft equipped with the ABFDS layout. After you have the set with the class 3 supply point started out with the operation, you may have the required layout with the hose outline fit. The following procedures be below the layout of the hose outlet and foot. Choose the route. Select the direct route with a free of the obstacle, if possible, to try to barrel well existing road to aid with the construction of the operation security. Route parallel the secondary all-weather road is better than the heavily traveled main supply route. If the road you choose the winds allow to make the cross-country cut off the map path of the different terrain, such as the marshes, the swamp, the water course, that will also avoid thick populated area to take advantage of the natural cover such as the fence line with the woods, with the hedgerow, however, do not disturb the natural cover, the grading of leveling, try to avoid rocky area that might damage the hose line. Loading box, you can load 3 to 5 flacking boxes in one truck with a using sling. Assemble the figure 27-6, the bait 27-4 to load them. Do not use the forklift truck because the puts of the lot of stress on the boxes and may damage them. Ensure that you enough the boxes properly when you load them. Make sure the return pin is in place. Then secure the stack of boxes for the truck to keep them from sliding. Leave the plywood closures and show them figure 27-8 and play with it during loading transport. You will give the distribution point to take the plywood closure off and replace them with a fabric retainer. The retainers automatically break away with the hose and pull from the box. Keep them in the future even before you start distributing the hose with the flacking box. Connect with the tail coupling on the top of the box to the lead coupling with the box below it. Do not do this until you have connected all of the hose couplings on the truck. When this will let you play with the whole truckload of hoses without stopping to make connections. So the hose coupling, hose lining, flacking boxes. Laying out the assault hose line on a road. Distributing hose at the start of laying hose to pull out with the lead end with the hose at the top flacking bob with the hold end of the ground stop. If the truck moves forward with 100 feet with the pull off the truck, there's no longer any need for you to hold back of the hose because of the weight of the ground is enough to keep it from dragging along with the truck. As the truck moves forward, it automatically comes out of the flacking box. You can play out the hose. It speeds up to 335 miles an hour. However, the speed of no more than 220 miles an hour is recommended. As you lay the hose, walk along the line and straighten out the kinks behind and then remove the small obstruction when you might damage the hose line on the road. Figure 27-8, pick up the hose, move it in road switches, road ditch with the bank across the ditch, and never leave the hose on the roadway. Crossing stream, there's several ways you can lay with the hose line across the stream, water course, if there's bridges to span with the hose line, improvised bracket, outside bridging railing, if there's no bridging, you may lay with the hose line directly over the stream bed with the narrow, app flood the hose line suspension cable that's shown figure 27-4, page 27-3, cross wide stream of the fabric saddle is shown figure 27-9, 27-7, with eyes with the easy wire attachment come with a kit. Alright, show the fabric 27-9, so fabric saddle, you with the hose line, suspension kit, saddle, hose, eye, and wire. Crossing gaps. You should always use the hose line suspension kit with the small gap with the steep side with the wide crossing of the building, suspended bridge with a flat deck with the floor to hold the hose that eliminates the lag with the curve with the suspension of the kit. You the crossing roads. Cross a highway with the railroad, run over the hose line under the bridge and through the culvert as properly. You can pull the hose line through the culvert, the rope with a push through the piece of lumber with a small diameter pipe with the hair with no braid with the install of the roadway crossing guard, figure 27-2, page 27-2, 27-2, page 27-3, page 27-2, to protect the hose line, never bury unprotected hose line with the railroad, and when crossing a hose line in a railroad, when crossing the railroad bed, you either can install a piece of the heavy wall pipe and then show with the dalliage ditch over the rails and suspend the hose over the railway bed in suitable height as soon as possible to replace the hose line in railway crossing with a welding pipeline because the fire hazard caused by upstream. The pumping station salt hose line pumping station have the 350 gallon pump assembly. If you're using one hose line outlet plate for the pumping assembly with the beginning of the hose line, shift before the pump does not have the pressure regulating device. You must monitor all the time with the chamber the hose line pressure. You may set up with the pumping station. You can connect the shovel hose line outfits together. These formally you can use the locate the pumping station on the level of the ground or use the motor, gasoline, and the hose line. If you product with other than the motor, gasoline with the distance between the pumping station, give them this formula changes. For example, if you produce product heavier than motor gas, the pumping station should be closer together. If the product you use is lighter than motor gas, the pumping station should be farther apart with the distance between the pumping station. Given that this formula also change the height with the terrain. For example, if you place the hose line on an uphill with the slope of the pumping station should be closer together. If you place the hose line on the downhill slope of the pumping station should be farther apart. Pressure reducing on station. When you place the hose line with a steep downhill with some of the distance there may be dependent on more pressure on the hose line than it can take. If this occurs with the install of the pressure reducing station, the line with the relief of the pressure for the station consisting of regulating receiving the storage tank. Check valves. Install check valves shown in figure 27-10. They are part of the flow control kit of the hose line system to keep the flow from flowing back with the stop of the pump, usually with the backflow of the hose line section of the uphill slope. Check the valve with the hinge disc when closed. The fuel flow with the wrong direction pushes against. Put your check valve at the downstream end of the pump discharge manifold near the bottom end of the hose line uphill slopes, and then show the 27-10 check valve installed with the hose line. Hose line testing. Once you have set up the assault hides and hose line with the fuel with the running of the pressure test, check with the leak for the stroke of the pump, slow with the rate of the fluid, with the pressure of the spindles, and gradually increment to 50 psi. Hold the pressure each of the time, rate with the inspect with the hose line for the leaks. Keep doing this up to including 150 psi. Even though the design burst pressure of the hose is higher, you should test it not exceed the rate safety work pressure with 150 psi. If the line pressure does not build, stroke of the pump, stop the pumps and recover the line properly has a leak. You can usually fix leaks with the coupling fittings valve by tightening and adjusting and replacing gaskets. Hose repair. Leaking and broken hoses need to be repaired as soon as possible. Following the steps to repair the hose. Leaking hose. Use the repair kit. Fix leak. CP defined spray leak for the which recover the hose the wall during the testing and use to fix them at once if they do not break with the hose. Reduce the pressure for the hose line. Cut down the fuel contaminant over the leak. Clean an area for about 6 inches wide on each side of the leak with solvent. If you do not have any solvent, wipe the area clean with dry. Apply the thin coat of rubber adhesive to the area, let it get tacky, and then give it about 5 minutes. Cover the adhesive area with a spiral wrap with a 2-inch wide rubber tape. Overlap each wrap with about 1 inch. Apply with 2 spiral wraps and 2-inch vinyl plastic tape with the area with the opposite direction. Wrap the tape as tight as you can without causing the hose to buckle. Keep some pressure for the hose so that it stays cylindrical. Have the tape patch shown figure 27-1. 11. Couple unpleated tape patch. Or to repair breaks and split puncture of the hose valve with cutting off the defective area joint, cut ends of the tube with coupling, sleeve with the end coupling. You can repair with the only couple of hoses in this way to cover the suction and hard wall with the hose. Use the head. Have wire wrap on the inside with it make them cut almost impossible. Shut down the system and strip it in, strip with no pressure for the hose line, put the hose clamp from the repair kit on each side of the break with the shown figure 27-12 and 27 on page 27-10. Cut the hose about 6 inches from the edge of the break with a clear for the inside of the damage. If you find any cut, the hose again and remove the damaged area with the wipe it into the hose clean with a dry clean solvent on the inside of the hose about 6 inches deep. Apply adhesive to the cut with the raw end while the solvent is drying with the cut with the adhesive out of the outside with the coupling sleeve. Place the sleeve of the hose immediately when the adhesive can act as a lubricant. Use the banding tool which comes with the repair kit. Put the banding strips on the hose as shown figure 27-13, page 27-10. Put on the sleeve of the hose and 3 band strap with the figure 27-14, 27-11. Apply the hands tightly, cut off with the excess of the screw them in with buckles. Stagger the buckles around the hose. Apply with the cut adhesive with the other end. Repeat the above steps on the other end of the hose. After you have completed both ends, connect with this coupling sleeve with the groove coupling. Remove the hose and clamps and start pumping. Show the hose clamp and the hose line and the brake. And then show the banding tool, buckles and banding strap. Coupling sleeve, buckle and hose and banding strap. Hose evacuation. You can move the assault hose to the new location until you remove the fuel with the system. You cannot move the assault hose line with the new location until you remove the fuel from the system. Get all of the vapor and air out of the hose over the flat readily to be packed. Do this to the displacement and evacuation kit. Or removing fuel. The following step to remove the fuel. Play with the hose, couple the section hose just in front of the pump discharge manifold where the hose line system starts. Disconnect the hose from the pump attached to the ball injector ball with the end of the hose as shown in figure 27-15, page 27-13, 27-16, and page 27-13. Move the pump to the other end of the assault hose with the connecting into the system. Put a second hose with the clamp end of the hose to connect with the pump to the selection manifold. Put attach the ball. Receiver the shown figure 27-17, page 27-14. 27-18, page 27-14, connect with the hose to the pump, attach the air compressor hose to the ball, inject the start of the system, inject the compressor air into the hose behind the ball, move both hoses, clamp them from the system, usually need 20 to 25 psi air pressure to move the displacement ball with a satisfactory rate, start the pump to keep it running to move the fuel forward into the storage. You can also remove the fuel from the hose line by gravity. If you have a tank truck with drain and filled lines, do not weave the water displaced fuel from the system. Or moving vapor and air. After the displacement ball has been moved through the line, you must still remove the vapor and air from the assault hose. Following these steps, remove the vapor and air from the assault hose line. Take the ball receiver off the end of the hose line. Put the air-type cap in play with it. You do not have the cap. You can seal the hose by bending it back and on itself over several times and tying it. Going to the beginning of the assault hose line, disconnect the air compressor hose from the ball injector. Attach the suction end of the air ductor of the shown figure 27-19, page 27-15. Put the compressor hose on the inlet side of the ductor. Turn on the air. To create the vacuum and draw the vapor air from the hose line. You must operate with the ductor for about 10 minutes from each 1,000-foot hose. When the hose flattens with the ribbon-like form, stop the air and fold back the end of the hose and tie it and remove the ball inlet and air ductor. You're now ready to pack the hose into the flacking box. Displacement. First thing you do when you're displacing the assault hose line is to put all but one flacking box along with the line at 1,000 foot intervals. Then follow the procedure below. Keep one flacking box on the pickup straight with the back of the vehicle over the hose line as it lies on the ground. Have 2 crew members pick up the hose from the ground and passes it over to the other people, 2 others on the vehicle. Start packing the hose in the flacking box by first placing at the end of the hose with the coupling attached at the left of the front of the box. View figure 27 on page 27 of 1. Lay out the hose along the length of the left side of the box from the hose around the back of the box. Then make successful folds from the left to right until you reach the front. Make sure the bend of the hose so that it fills the entire width of the box. Make sure the folds are packed tightly together so that you can get 1,000 feet of hose in the plywood closure. Figure 27-1, page 27-1, fabric retainers and temperature below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. You may have to ensure the hose line packing kit to get the hose into the flacking box. When using the kit, to make about 15 folds in the box, lay a plank across the face of the hose, then attach the hose puller and compressor of the hose into the box, putting one clamp on each side of the box to keep the hose in place and remove the plank. Move the plank and hose puller. Remove this process. Repeat the process for about 15 to 20 folds until the entire hose is packed in the flacking box. Shows the whole clamp hose, displacement ball injector groove coupling on assemble the ball injector. Your hose clamp hose groove connect coupling displacement ball injector. Assemble the ball injector. This shows the groove coupling displacement ball receiver and hose. That's the unassemble the ball receiver, hose and groove coupling displacement ball receiver, assemble the ball receiver, displacement ball injector hose, air inductor, adductor, groove coupling, air adductor. Well, that was chapter 27, testing.